to play Warhammer in the very basic form. It will be the Necrons versus the Space Marines, and I'm going to have to use the books from the last edition just because it's easier to film and illustrate rather than me doing a lot more work. It's the very fundamentals of why it's good. If we talk about Warhammer on this channel, I want you to at least understand the very basics. Have the two sides roll off and the highest roll wins. And then the winning player gets to put a unit of models on, and then the opposition gets to put a unit of models on, vice versa. Let's skip that. This is our setup then, and they have to start like 12 inches, sometimes more, apart from each army. And at the start of every battle round, each team gets a command point, and basically those can be spent on, let's just for this example say, re-rolling a bad hand of dice. Burnable commodity, and you accrue them and can spend them on special moments to help you out. My Outriders can actually move all the way in, but there's a rule saying that in the movement phase you can't get closer than 3 inches. So I could move up, but I know these don't have long range weapons, so I ain't gonna do that. And in the shooting phase, I'm gonna shoot with both my weapons. Any guns that you have, you are allowed to shoot with them all in the shooting phase, and you fight with up close and personal weapons in the fight phase. And also, you have to choose if you've got multiple melee, which ones you're gonna use. At least that was the rules most recently. So these guys, there's 3 of them. The gun I'm using gives them 3 shots each. But a special feature on that gun says that if they're within half of 30 inches, I can do double the attacks. So that makes 12 attacks against these guys. Now all these data sheets might seem quite baffling at first, but you do get used to it through playing. And there's endless YouTube videos to take you through it. So like, there's a 14-inch movement on here. You look to shoot with ballistic skill in your 3s. The strength of your character is 4. The toughness is 5. The wounds they have is 4. The attacks they make is 2. And then your weapons have certain numbers of how strong the weapons are, how deeply their armour penetration is, making the saves harder for the opposition. Like, they all have chainswords, and each time it fights, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. Rather than being 2 attacks, it'll be 3 attacks. And even explaining it sounds very complicated, but trust me, all the starter sets will take you through step at a time and will introduce more and more the more you play it. So it's like move and shoot, you know? Move, shoot, charge, move, shoot, charge, fight. And honestly, it becomes not gibberish. But whoa, hang on guys, these dudes haven't moved. It's the movement phase, and if you forget about it, your opposition will say, no, you can't move them now, you started the shooting phase, because that's how all mourners talk. So let's shoot with those guys. It helps if you have a dice rolling tray. So take my word for it, my gun that I'm using needs to roll 3, 4, 5 or 6. So any 1s and 2s are a waste of time. Those bullets spray wildly. Now there's a comparison table where I have to look at how good they are and how good they are, and basically combine the 2 on this table and find out the number I need to roll next. And as it goes, it's 5s or 6s. Ew. Alright, 6 shots were successful and are on track to hurt them, but they might be able to shrug them off. They make a save roll. If their save roll is 4 to shrug off wounds, well, my gun actually has a penalty that makes it a 5 for them to roll it, because it's got a little bit of armour penetration, so they need 5 or 6s to ignore the wound, which they fail and they fail. Wow, they saved 4 out of 6, so only 2 of my bullets wound. Now sometimes these are worth more than just 1, but on this occasion, that's a wound, that's a wound. 2 shots are a wound, that's 2 wounds. They start with 3 wounds per model. You can't split the wounds up, you have to kill 1 before your damage moves over. So from 3 down to 1, that guy will take the next damage out of that unit, no matter what. Now these chaps have their eyes set on this crew. There's 10 dudes, 10 shots, if the distance is doable. These guys each have a gun that shoots 1 at a time, and it shoots 18 inches. Completely within range. An argument could be made that some of these guys won't be able to see some of the others, but the rules change on whether everybody in the unit can shoot or not, and we're just going to go with yes they can. So 3s to hit, they're all good. You consult this table, 3s to wound. All these are going to wound, so that's 5 dice. The opposition is going to roll 5 dice to ignore those 5 wounds. All they have to roll is a 4, except that my gun has a special thing that means that it goes through armour a little better, so they have to roll 5s instead. Each weapon's different, and it's just all a matter of comparing these numbers. That's why there's so many numbers. But I happen to know they need 5s. They didn't save any. On this occasion, every one of those 5 wounds does 1 damage each, and these only have 1 life each, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 get shot down. Next is the charge phase, and I am not within 12 inches, which is the range you have to be to make a charge, upon which you would roll a 2d6 and have to get if it's 8 inches you'd have to get 8 on the dice, or more obviously. Anyway, I'm not charging, so effectively player 1, Space Marines, pass their turn over to the Necrons. The Necrons can then move, shoot, etc. So in this edition that I'm using, they can move 8. This guy's wounded, and you just do that. Don't forget these guys. These can move 5. There's going to go over here. They have to all kind of stay in a clump for reasons. Basically so that you can't spread them out in a long line over the entire map. So this is our situation. They moved and now they can't shoot, so they're waiting to charge, but the next phase is shooting. They're going to shoot. These guns can shoot 24 inches, so easily takes on this group. So 5 guns are shooting. 5 dice. They have to roll 3s to hit, sort of be on target. They didn't, these did. And then it's a matter of how strong they are versus how tough they are. Let's just say 4s. Okay, 2 4s and a 1. So that means the Space Marines have to save 2 attacks. Space Marines saves is 3, but they have a special armor penetration of 1, so I have to roll 4s. 2 and a 4. So 1 damage goes through. That weapon does a single point of damage. Each Space Marine has 2 health, and so one of them is down to 1. Next is the charge phase. These want to charge into fight. It is, well, it's probably 5.5 inch. I'm going to say 5 inch. They need 5. So that's a 6 and a 4 is 10. That's 10. They can move 10 inches in, easily getting in their face. Do these want to charge in? Not really. Fighting up close and personal is not really their thing. And these have some nice chainswords. So they're Hyperphase Reap Blades, cool name, are going to attack now. 3 attacks each, 3, 6, 9, 12 attacks. They have to roll 3s. I think that's right. And you consult the table, let's just say they have to roll 4s. Okay, 4 got through, so 4 saves. But those damn swords have an armor penetration of 4, meaning I would have to roll all these to be 7s, which is impossible, so they automatically have to wound my group. And the damage of each of those dice equals 3, so 3, 6, 9, 12, that's 12 damage, which is the exact amount of health of that unit. Dead, dead, dead. So the tide's suddenly turning for the Space Marines. There are more rules to be added as you get more confident with the game, but let's just go straight to the Assault Intercessors movement. And I will say that it's all about having fun, and if you and the kids want to do it like this or whatever, your friends, just leave it at that. Don't let anyone tell you you're playing it wrong. You play it how you want to play it. 6 inches of movement, but can't get within 3 inches, which they're not, until they charge in. So this group, oops, tactical nudge I call that. These guys rally in ready to shoot. 10 shots, rolling 3s, then rolling 4s. That's a good one. I rolled 3 and above. Now to roll 4 and above. Yeesh. Okay, tell you what I'll do. Spend a command point allowing me to re-roll it. And I'm not even going to look if I did any hits among that pile. I'm just going to say, yeah, this is how you re-roll. Okay, that is better. That's 6 saves for the Necrons to make. They roll theirs. They have to roll 5s. That's 2 successes, 4 more dead. Blah, blah, blah. Now the Necrons do have a thing where they can roll some dice and get back up like the Terminator, but not in this game. So they shot, now they're going to charge. Call it 7 inches. Oh yeah, 12. I rolled 12. Charge! Things are not looking good for Derek025. They all get 3 attacks each. That's 30 attacks. He's dead. So, hearing their friends do a battle cry, the targets are set on these Space Marines. Movement 8 inches. Jeff059 taking the lead, and his buddies backing him up. Oh, they have to stay 3 inches apart. They don't have any shooty shoots, so they're just going to charge in. God, they only need to roll a 3, which they rolled 8. So one guy is on 1, and one guy is on 1 on their side. So time for the chop chop. They crackle up their hyperphase reap blade. 12 attacks. 3s to hit. No, 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 no. Not going to use a command point. And then let's just have to apply it to say 4s. No, 3s actually, I think it is. Ooh. They have to roll 7s. Their eyes go wide. They can't. That's 3 damage each. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 18. 18? Annihilated. So yeah, that's kind of it really. And the very, very basics. And with loads of different models, it could take you hours, but with all different strategies to play and decisions to be made, what a game. What a cool game.